I grew up in a small 88-acre farm just north of Peoria. We had a specialty crop of apples. It's called Tanner's Orchard. And from there, I went to college, University of Illinois, at Urbana-Champaign, majored in agricultural engineering. Did that for a couple years, and then right out of college, I started working at Caterpillar. Growing up, I was involved in FFA, and I was Section 5 FFA president. I didn't find the career at John Deere. Bree Nelson tagged me in a post and asked me if I wanted to do this, and then Megan Coy contacted me. One of the biggest lessons I've learned throughout my career is to try to be empathetic or put yourself in someone else's shoes when they're talking to you or presenting their ideas, and listen to what they're saying and try to understand their position, and then, either take their points or present your counterpoints in kind of a thoughtful and understanding manner. That seems to help out quite a bit. If you don't listen to somebody and have that conversation with them, then usually the discussion doesn't go anywhere. So I'd say one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is to be a good listener and actually listen to people, and don't just be talking. My position at Caterpillar right now, I work in energy storage. We are building containers full of batteries for kind of hybrid systems, and we are in a new area that a lot of these other companies are starting to get into. Caterpillar wants to get into that market as well. So I have a team of people that I work with, and we're all working to develop new products and bring them to market. Some of the things that I did in high school that helped me prep for my career would be just learning how to solve problems. That was kind of one of the biggest things that I did throughout my career. Whether it's technical problems, personal problems, financial problems, whatever you do, you just kind of think about those kind of things critically and try to apply whatever skills that you have so that you can come up with a good solution. And also something that I've learned that not every solution or not every problem really needs a solution. Sometimes what people want is they just want somebody to listen to, and they'll come up with their own solution, but just kind of being that sounding board. Going to school for engineering, though, it was really good to be able to understand that what we're doing in school really actually does apply. So some advice that I'd give would be to really try to listen when you're in your classroom and think of how you could apply that to either what you want to do in the future or what you're doing now, because that didn't really click for me until I was almost out of school, and when I was a senior and going to grad school, then I started to understand that, hey, the things that I'm doing in school are actually extremely helpful. So what type of new products are you and your team working on? We are working on energy storage, which means arrays of lithium-ion batteries, either to do various functions. Sometimes when you don't have enough power and you need a certain amount of power for just a short time, you can use the energy stored in the batteries. Or there's some battery electric vehicles, one that's been, I think, announced that we're working on as well. And these were not things that I thought that I would be doing when I was in high school or when I was in FFA. So it's just kind of got to be open to new ideas and see where things go. And I'm really surprised that I'm working on this kind of stuff. What's something that surprised you that you learned what you didn't expect when you began your career? I thought that most of the problems would be just technical, or go into there and you give a solution and you find out what it is. But a lot of the things that I've learned are, it takes a lot more personal skills to get something done or to be successful, because there might be somebody that doesn't agree with you, and you have to understand, how do you get them over to your way of thinking, or what is it that they're really concerned about, because not everybody will go out and tell you, hey, this is the thing that I'm concerned about, or maybe they're telling you and you don't understand it. And so you have to really sit back and listen and try to work with that person collaboratively and with your team to be able to get to a solution and to get everybody to agree on it. And that's been kind of one of the things that I thought was the most interesting, that you didn't really learn in college. You didn't learn that, hey, here's your problem, you solve it, you get the answer, and you don't have to worry about anybody else. But when you get out in the workforce, there's a lot of other things that you have to do that you might not have ever even thought about. So that was one of the things that I really didn't expect to learn when I began my career, is that a lot of the things that we do are related to your personal skill sets and collaborating and working with people. My educational background, it says, can you give us a little bit of your educational background? I went to high school at Sparland and then Midland for 4 years. We consolidated halfway through school, and it looks like I got a like there, maybe somebody from Sparland or Midland. I went there, and then straight out of high school, I went to college at University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Got a bachelor's in ag engineering, and then I got a master's in ag engineering right after that as well. And from there, I went and started working at Caterpillar. Throughout my career in school, I got summer internships or worked on campus. And those are extremely helpful if you can get a position where you're working on campus, or if you have an opportunity to get an internship. Those things are very critical to helping you develop. So that was kind of my educational background. What type of skills do you need to become an engineer? Well, the good thing about that is there's all kinds of different things that engineers do. We got people that are really technical problem solvers. You got people that go out in the field and help out. You can get into kind of any sort of area that you want to. Well, at least within Caterpillar, it seems like once you get an engineer and you're in the door, you can try to get yourself in doing anything you want. But ultimately, it's personal skills to be able to talk to other people. That's a really big one if you want to be successful and you want to make progress. And then problem solving skills and technical skills. Those are kind of the things that I think are really important, and not only in engineering, but in all fields. Being able to do those kind of things, I think, is important. What is your advice for students who are trying to choose a career path? How do you go about making that decision? I don't know. I think I'm probably the wrong person to ask that. I thought I wanted to be an engineer when I got out of high school. My brother was in engineering, and I thought, well, that just sounds pretty cool. And so I just did it. But I don't know. I think I would try to find something that, you're going to have a good chance of being successful at. Try to find something you're passionate about, and try to find something that, you'll be able to do and provide for yourself. Because, sometimes you go into something, and even if you really like it, it might not be something that you can do for your entire life or to make a living at. It might be something you're really passionate about, but something that, it's not very sustainable. So those kind of things are tough to do, but that's how I would try to pick a career. If I was going to give my kids advice, I would say, hey, find something that you like, and then try to find something in that area that is a sustainable career path for a long time. I apologize, I meant Caterpillar earlier. What is the favorite part of your position? The favorite part of my position is that we get to develop new products and bring them to market. There's a lot of uncertainty and there's a lot of challenges, and so we don't really know what the customer wants, and we don't know what we can deliver, and we just don't really know a lot about these products and what people will buy. And so that's kind of one of the most exciting things I like about that, is to be able to try to figure out, how are people going to use this? How can I make it better? Or how can we bring that to them faster? So that's kind of been one of the challenging things about my new position I've had that for about a year, and that's pretty fun. It's challenging too, because you're dealing with a lot of uncertainty. Do you see a need for engineers in agriculture? Where do you see growth in the industry? So in our area, there's a company called Precision Planning, and that was something that I looked at when I was in college. And to be able to minimize the amount of inputs and maximize the outputs is something that is going to be incredibly important in agriculture. And so having that is a problem, especially as the world population grows, and to being able to get the most out of the limited amount of resources we have. I think engineers in agriculture are going to be, just continue to be important. And even though people get an ag engineering degree, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to work on stuff in agriculture. Like, I'm not working on anything in agriculture, but you can still get a mechanical engineering degree or whatever, and you can still be solving problems that deal with agriculture. So I think that, there's a lot of growth in the industry, and especially as farming continues to become more mechanized, and we have to try to minimize the inputs. It's very tough to be a farmer. You're buying everything in retail and you're selling everything in wholesale, and it's a tough job, and they can use all the help they can get. So what does a typical day look like for you? Right now, a typical day looks about like this. I'm at a card table in my bedroom, looking out on my deck. My kids are arguing downstairs, and just trying to make everything work here at home. It's quite a bit of a different environment, but it's been interesting. I really wish everybody was back to normal, but so I have a lot of meetings. In my job, I don't necessarily do a lot of the work right now. There's some work that I do, but a lot of it I try to set people up to be successful or direct their work as to what people should be doing. So that's a lot of my day is like that. In my big cup of water, and make sure I stay hydrated. We do have a lot of meetings, where we talk about things, and a lot of that is you're arguing about, or discussing, like, okay, we're going to do this, or we're going to do that, or what's the best way to do things. And again, it's not always the best solution that wins. Sometimes it's kind of a mix of a lot of these things, and getting people to agree on that. That's kind of sometimes the hardest part. So a lot of my day is thinking about the best way to solve problems, and some of that is the people side of it, and then the technical side and the financial side. Thank you so much for joining us today. What is your biggest piece of life advice? I think somebody asked me that earlier, and I think probably my biggest piece of life advice is to listen to other people, and actually listen, not just listen to wait for your turn to talk. That's kind of one of the biggest things that I've had to learn. Empathy, it's a odd word that nobody ever throws around, but really try to put yourself in someone else's shoes when you're having a discussion with them. Say, like, okay, why are they doing this? Why are they approaching this, from this direction, or why are they upset? Kind of what are their goals, and can I reach some kind of middle ground, or can I try to meet both of our goals at the same time? Or how do I explain maybe how I think it should work? That's kind of one of the biggest things that I've had to learn. And if you can understand that earlier in life, you're going to be miles ahead. My young son is interested in engineering. What can I do to help promote him in this path? I think so. A lot of the things that I didn't do in college, like I didn't. Jennifer, how old is your son? Maybe that would help. I could tell you maybe some age appropriate things. But if they're younger, Legos are a great thing to do, or taking them on tours of like going to see the Hoover Dam. Obviously, probably can't do that right now, but seeing kind of things like that, driving around, looking at windmills, or find out what kind of engineering he's interested in. Ask some people in your area, hey, can we go in and see what you do in a day, see what an engineer does in a day. I've seen a great meme that shows kind of what people think engineers do in a day, and it's pretty interesting. Yeah, 11 years old. Okay, great. That's a pretty fun time. So yeah, I would try to get him out to like either a manufacturing place that's local and kind of look at that, and maybe talk to some of the engineers there, or try to get a tour of kind of one of the larger, like Caterpillar, John Deere in your area, if there's something like that available. Kind of taking them on those tours to see like, here's what people actually do, and not just what some idea that you have in your head of what it is. And then maybe something will click in their head and they'll be like, wow, that looks really fun, or how does that work? Or, why would I do that? And then from then it's like, you won't even have to get them interested. It's just be naturally inquisitive about it and passionate about it, and start to focus in that. I mean, and honestly, it's like when I started engineering, I didn't really know what it was about. I thought it was just going to be working behind a computer making 3D models all day. I thought that would be great. It's so much more than that. That's just the smallest part of it. He's a huge Lego fan. That's great. Buy him the technical sets then, the ones with the gears, and try to figure that stuff out. I learned about making a 4-wheel drive with my Lego set, and one of my wheels spun this way and the other one spun this way, and truck didn't go anywhere. So I was a little confused, so I had to learn about that. I don't know. Here we go. We got another question. Thank you so much for being with us today. It sounds like Megan's ready for me to leave. I don't know. Are there any more questions? I've got a whole 9 people watching. Can't believe 9 people have stayed and listened for me this long. Most engineers are kind of boring. Yep, you're welcome, Jennifer. I hope your son finds something. If he's in the area, and you want to reach out to me or somebody, I can take him on a tour. We've got several manufacturing areas in the Peoria area. I could talk to him about what engineering is like. Caterpillar is really great about letting us bring people in. I think 12 is kind of that age when you can start to come freely in the office and be a visitor. But if you guys wanted to do that, just contact me, and when things start to get back to normal, we could do that. It's not a problem. All right, well, if there's no other comments, questions, and I guess I'll wrap it up now. So thanks for the opportunity, and I enjoyed talking to everybody today.